All right, welcome to Old School. Jake Euchre, Ben Glee, Mark Thompson. Amazing day, amazing show for you guys. One of the topics we're going to get into is, would you take home nuclear secrets as a memento? Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But first, Mark has got his radio show on KGO. You're going to check that out through iHeartRadio. He's got The Edge with Mark Thompson. That's his podcast. Ben Glebe, TBS, did you know that TBS once called Ben, quote, one of the funniest comedians working today? It's an outrageously good quote.
Yeah.
PBS or TBS?
Okay. TBS. Slightly
not
more
that it's not that distinction is necessarily germane to this conversation. I'm just curious.
No, it was just BS. No, nothing. Okay, no, it's TBS.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's got a new special out on YouTube, so you can just watch it right now. What the hell? It's Ben Glebe, the Mad King, Washington. The Mad King sounds badass, Ben.
Thank you.
So I like that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I feel like we have to start defining our own terms on the left because the right's been doing it too long, and they get millions of followers for evil deeds. So we got to start doing it on the right, and I'm leading the way.
I like it. I like it a lot. In fact, real quick before we get to the world's worst lie, so let's show one of the clips from the Mad King.
Love it. Pandemic's almost over, but maybe not. But it could be, but we don't know. There's a chance that it might be or it might not be. It's over, but almost over, but not really, but it's still going strong. It's surging, but it's a weaker surge. It's a weaker surge, but affecting more. It's affecting more, but it's affecting them less. It's affecting less people in a more intense way and more people in a less intense way. It could be done, but it's not done. It's important to get vaccinated, but if you do, you also got to get boosted until the booster wears off, and you got to get another booster, in which case you might still get it. You probably will still get it. You'll definitely get it, but if you're not boosted, you're going to get it less or more. And then if you're not at all vaccinated, you're gonna get it, and it's gonna be worse. But for some people, it's still gonna be worse, but not as many people will it be bad for. So I'm glad 2 years in, we finally got a handle on it. Glad we got it figured out.
But you know what? That's true. It's funny because it's true.
That's what's so funny about that. It's absolutely true.
Which actually is a perfect transition. We could talk about that for hours, but that special is over an hour. Okay, but it's a perfect transition to like, it took you this long and we still haven't figured it out. So guys, it's been a week since the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, and there's a lot of questions around what did Trump take? Why did he take it? How bad is it? What is he guilty of, et cetera. But to me, one of the most interesting questions is, why? Why take home nuclear secrets? Like if an ally of mine became president and then they're leaving office and they call me up and say, Cenk, I'm thinking of taking something home. What do you think I should take home? I would say, not the nuclear secrets, right? Like if that's fair. Like that would be the very, very last thing you would tell someone to take. Hey, you know what? Grab the Winston Churchill statue. Probably not a good idea, but take it. And the Japanese prime minister gave you that sword. I mean, probably not yours, but I get it. Let's take that, right? But like the nuclear codes, wouldn't that be the very last thing you would tell someone to take home?
Well, I'm reserving judgment on this one, Cenk, until I find out if I won my bid on eBay for the secrets. So we'll see. I got $1 billion riding on this.
So to Ben's point, right? Right now there's basically two answers that Republicans are giving for why Trump took it home. One is Memento. Let's just let that one sink in, okay? A memento, and you're like that. You're saying this with a straight face, and so they're like, "Well, look, maybe he didn't want to sell the nuclear secrets, but he wanted to have the nuclear secrets as a memento, just to remember the good times." I don't like. We've discussed this topic a million times, but right wing, what are you doing? What do you like? Do you not see? Do you not see how outrageous that lie is? How ridiculous that lie is? But it might only be topped by the second lie. No, he was just taking papers home to study them on his off time.
After he was president, after he was done.
After he was done.
Yeah, he didn't even study them on his own time. You know, he literally didn't attend briefings, didn't look at briefing materials. So he study them on an off time. Try the on time. You were there for 4 years. You didn't look at anything.
As Cenk said, do you not see? Do you not see? I feel like they do not see. That's their favorite party game. Let's play Nazi tonight.
Oh, I saw that one. So, but like, if it's the nuclear codes, we don't know what kind of nuclear secrets he took home. But if it's the codes, is that a thing you study on your off time?
Not the codes, Cenk. I heard you say that the other day. Stop it with you lives with the kids. They took the codes.
Yeah,
it might be the design. It might be methods and strategies to implement various nuclear strategies. It might be locations, but it's not the codes. I mean, the codes change all the time, Cenk. I'm surprised you don't know that. The TYT codes change all the time. When I hear you pitching merch, it's always a different code. You don't think they change the nuclear codes?
Okay. First of all,
24, 48, 36.
Yeah. No, but I was gonna say, let me have fun imagining him studying in an off times. Like, oh, NB 37XZ still the same. God damn it, nailed it that time. Man, woman, camera, TV, NB 37XZ. I got it.
Donald, there's a bunch of exotic dancers here on the golf course. You're late for your tea time. You want to come golf with us? Sorry, studying nuclear secrets.
I mean, get the codes, but seriously, Mark's of course right. It's more likely to be the weapon designs or where they are, or now they're, by the way, saying human intelligence, meaning he might be giving them, it might be spies, and he's giving up the location, the identification, and honestly the lives of those spies. But we don't know that yet. But that's part of the speculation going on now. But
he would probably never do that, Cenk, because it's not like as soon as there was already an attack on an FBI building, did he then reveal the identities of the FBI agents that stormed Mar-a-Lago. So it's not like he would ever reveal the identities or locations of CIA operatives or anything.
No, I know, because it's terrible to go to Supreme Court justice's house and they had to pass a bill instantly. And so, of course, they wouldn't want you going to the FBI agents' houses. That's why they accidentally gave you their names and locations, et cetera. But I heard Taylor Lorenz outed the neighbor of a cousin of a dog catcher at some point. And so that's super important for doxing reasons. But the FBI, you could dox all day long. Everybody knows that.
Well, also, I don't know if we've even recovered yet from this national tragedy. She's still in trauma therapy. The child sidewalk chalk outside of Susan Collins' house. How is she ever gonna recover from that? Saying, please, Senator Collins. It was a formal letter, politely written, sincerely, us concerned citizens.
Yeah. Well, by the way, the GOP has a rich tradition of this. This is kind of an old school thing to reveal this, the identity of top secret agents in the CIA. It goes back to the Cheney administration, as you're aware. Valerie Plame, you can ask her about it. So this ain't their first rodeo, although it seems to be a bigger rodeo than the last one.
Yeah, for sure. But all of this brings me back to the same question. Do we think the Republicans, like the voters themselves, do we think that they're still buying it? Or do they know, yeah, of course we're messing with the libs and the media. We know, of course it's a lie. Don't be ridiculous, right? And they just don't mind and they're trolling us? Or do they really think like, no, Trump, man, he loves studying. Okay, what's the design? The design, okay, they put the screw there. I didn't see that coming.
Does it have to be such a cone-shaped tip? Does it have to be, could it look more like a baby carrot on the end? I would like one modeled after my own baby penis. Is it possible?
Yeah, like that's a much more feasible conversation than Trump going, hey, you know what? I'm done being president. but I just want to commit to memory where all the nukes are. So we've got 3 in Kyrgyzstan. Okay, all right. I'm just trying to keep track of it. Come on, come on. If you're a right winger, you're watching right now. You don't believe that, do you? That he was doing extra homework after he was president, or that he took it home as a memento and oops, realized they're worth billions of dollars if he gives them to a different state, like that. Really, like memento or extra homework. Those are your 2 best lies. You had a week, and that's the best lies you came up with. Jesus,
I
think they do believe.
There are not a lot of good lies, Cenk, associated with grabbing nuclear documents related to nuclear material or top secret documents, or all the elevated levels of top secret that we're learning about. By the way, it's nice that all the COVID experts and then the constitutional experts and Supreme Court experts are now experts on what's top secret, what's not, what's, that whole conversation. Everybody's deputized into new areas of expertise constantly in this country. But there
Rand
are a lot
Paul
of,
chiefly.
Yeah, exactly. There aren't a lot of good lies available, Cenk. So whatever lie you're going to serve up is pretty much going to be actually probably his best lie. I mean, it's so patently absurd, but was the plant. They planted all this, but then he moved off of that within like an hour, and then he went to those, right, and then all,
No, I want to state for the record how right Mark is, because that was when I heard, they were claiming that the FBI planted it. I was like, oh, that's a good lie. They should stick with that lie because it's so hard, near impossible to disprove. Except Trump is so criminally stupid, he might have actually disproved that one as well. I'll explain that in a second. But I was worried when they were saying the FBI planted it, because I was like, man, that could really mess with people's minds, because it's, like I said, it's near impossible to disprove. But then since he's a goddamn moron, he moved off of it instantly. And it was like, oh yeah, I had a standing order to declassify them. Anything I brought home to Mar-a-Lago, I said, declassify. I stand over it and I order it. I say, you're now declassified.
He stands over it like he's my Wiccan ex-girlfriend pouring salt on the front door to keep evil spirits away. I mean, even John Bolton came right on Fox News and said, that's a lie. I would have seen documents saying it was declassified. They would have to list every document on some sort of paperwork. You can't just go abracadabra, abracadabra, mecca-lecca-hi, mecca-hi-ni-ho, and suddenly you've got benign papers.
Yeah, of course, there's got to be paperwork involved. Second of all, some of them were from a secured facility where it is illegal to take him out of the facility, no matter who you are, including the president, right? And he's like, but Mar-a-Lago basement, fine, there was no lock on it, but it was fairly secure. I mean, when I brought in the Russians and the Saudis, they were both said they will not bring in any spies. They promised it, they looked at it, but they didn't take a picture with their glasses, not at all, okay?
That's why he wears such big trench coat style suit jackets. You can put a lot of stuff in there. He might have even gone in the pants Sandy Berger style. We don't know.
Yeah, good pull.
Yeah.
But Cenk, that I want to hear your theory in a second, but it is there are a couple of things. Those that had to be moved in, and you had to know to retain those after you'd just given up a bunch of others, right? So those are clearly people. Not only Trump, someone else is aware that there's other stuff back there that you're not supposed to surrender. But then the question comes around once we get past all of this stuff, which is obviously BS. All the stuff he's saying, I'm wondering, unless it was some self-enrichment that he was after, which seems to me to be the most plausible, because that's really what the whole world of Trump was, even for that 4-year period, enriching himself and other wealthy interests, donors, et cetera, loyalists. I don't see why you'd hang on to them. I mean, so it almost has to be self-enrichment.
Well, Russian state television already today was implying that they've seen him. I mean, they might, of course, be making that up, but they also might not. He certainly seems more loyal and more caring to the opinion and the favor of the Russian government than the US government. And this one seems to have turned on him as far as he's concerned and as far as facts are concerned, because he's trying to actively dismantle it to benefit. I mean, he commits treason every day still, giving aid and comfort to our enemies. when you constantly still say an election is stolen, that is treason. Every time he says it, that's treasonous statement when it's not stolen. And so why would he then not do it to also get $1 billion? Of course he would.
Yeah, so that's why I bring up the memento and the doing extra homework after he's already out of office, because there is no plausible reason to take the nuclear secrets home. It is the very, very, very last thing you should take home, and everybody knows that. There's only one reason to take them home: to sell them. And the only reason why you wouldn't think that he was taking them home to sell them is either you're MAGA and so you're a chudhead and you don't care at all about facts or logic or anything, or you think nobody's that stupid, nobody's that criminal, right? But you're wrong. Trump is that criminal and Trump is that stupid. Projecting intelligence onto him is a grave mistake. I mean, think about it, guys. He was out. Like they weren't gonna get him on any of the obviously illegal things that he did on the tax fraud. The Manhattan Attorney General had kind of given up on that. The hush money to the porn stars. I mean, they sent Michael Cohen to prison for that. He should have gone as well. He was his co-conspirator. They gave up on that. They gave up on all the impeachment stuff. And and I would have been very, very surprised if they charged him, let alone got him on January 6th. He was clear and free after all of that law breaking, after all of that insanity. But he can't help himself. He's like, oh, I got an idea. Like, and by the way, this is like one of their defenses is, oh, look at the Democrats. Now it's another attack against Donald Trump. That's because he did another incredibly stupid criminal thing. He didn't have to do that other stupid criminal thing. And he's like, oh, I got an idea. Well, and this goes partly to a question that Mark asked, which is a really good question. Like, wait, how did he get them? Because it's not like Trump knows the Dewey Decimal System of top secrets. And he's like, no, it's okay, Gladys, I got this. And he's rifling through and he's like, okay, all right, here it is. Row I, column 7, right? No, somebody got it for him. And I assume there's a checkout system. And somebody checked it out at some point. So when they say, oh, he took it home for homework, they're gonna find out he didn't take it home like 3 years into his term. He took it home much later. They're gonna find out who got it for him. And they're all gonna be in a lot of trouble, right? And here they're stuck, guys, because either you're gonna say, okay, we're gonna prosecute Donald Trump, which is what you should do for breaking the law. Or they're gonna say, I guess everybody can take home nuclear secrets now. And they can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right that he can't help himself. I even think it probably is like one level psychopath. Further than that, it's Biden. I wouldn't be surprised to find out one day that Biden was having a good news cycle for once, a good week. And Trump was like, I'm above the law anyway. Maybe leak a little, remind them I might have some boxes over there at Mar-a-Lago. Like just to steal the thunder and bring the attention back to him. I could see Donald Trump almost hinting at himself because he doesn't believe he'll ever suffer a consequence, like you say, because thus far he hasn't even come close. I mean, this week, it certainly seems, I guess it was last week, that the world's closing in on him. 5 scandals at once, all closing in on him, with involving the legal system, not just punditry going crazy, but the Georgia Attorney General and the New York Attorney General, the Georgia Grand Jury, the New York Attorney General, the Jan 6 committee closing in, the tax fraud in New York, like I mentioned, the raid on the FBI compound, all of it closing in on him at the same time. The NDAs of his staff being released from the NDAs, so they can now finally start telling the truth about what he did and how he treats the people that work for him all at once, and still he doesn't feel vulnerable to it. And I think it's because, to answer your question from earlier, Cenk, I really do think that they do believe it. I think they still believe what he says, because look at it, they immediately took arms. The same people who have been decrying the phrase defund the police, they just raided for a search warrant, not even No one died, nobody's been indicted, nobody's been charged with anything, and they immediately say defund the FBI. The one issue that maybe the right still had some gravitas left when it comes to the standard bearer issues of what we're supposed to believe in this country is believe in a strong law enforcement, back the blue line. Bail on that the second it even touches the feelings of little Twampy Wumpy, their sweet boy whose feelings is hurt. And on top of that, they take up arms and start going outside FBI offices, shooting in the air, going in Arizona, saying, we won't stand for this, let's call for a civil war. The same people have been saying, you have to have the FBI investigate Hunter Biden. That laptop, get in there. Hillary needs to be indicted, brought in. Where's the FBI? And just to even can we just get our documents back before we even discuss whether there might be a criminal penalty or any charge? Civil war. They're 100% still on board with this monster.
Well, the fringes are militantly on board, as Ben has just said. The center is aware. I mean, I'll even fold Josh Hawley into that. I mean, somebody as reprehensible as Josh Hawley and people in that world who are smart enough to know this is BS, smart enough to know that what Trump is doing. But his relationship, I just again using him as sort of the hood ornament on that car, that that clown car that carries them all. It's transactional, the relationship. And Donald Trump is still, from a political standpoint, transactionally important. He still has, it's crazy to say it, but he still has more than some, a lot of relevance as a leader of the Republican Party. Now, he's taking on water. There's no question about that. And as we've said, these lies are completely vapid. They're so shallow and weird. It's that every piece of BS is being thrown against the wall to see what will stick. But that said, the reason they are not believing what he says, but carrying the logic of what he says as their message is that he's still important to that party.
Oh yeah, and to Ben's point, he picked up 10 points in polling after the news.
There you go.
And so the Republican voters are like, oh, the big guy's charged with another insane criminal plot. Okay, time to rethink leaving him. This guy's like bigger and better than I realized. And nobody knows crime better than Donald Trump. And so it made him more popular with the Republicans. It just flat out made him more popular. He's more criminal, and he was going to sell our nuclear secrets possibly to our enemies. I love this guy.
Yeah, he feels it's that they feel attacked. Right.
He feeds off of the blood of goodness. Anytime that there's any crime, he feeds off it. He gets stronger. He's like Voltron or something. I don't know if Voltron's a good character, but you understand the point I'm making. And another piece of evidence as to the mainstream Republican Party still fully being on board for him. I mean, you would think at all of these jumping off points, perfect jumping off points. Originally, it was Jan 6th that night when McConnell and the next day, McConnell and Lindsey Graham were like, I'm done with this guy. I'm moving on. This is ridiculous. Until the next day when they're right back on. Kevin McCarthy, I'm sick of this guy, and then going posing in Mar-a-Lago 3 weeks later. But this is another perfect jumping off point. Okay, we're fine with trying to overthrow the US government, trying to not certify an election, but endangering all of our lives and that of our law enforcement agencies, our intelligence agencies, maybe outing them, keeping nuclear secrets at your house, jumping off point. No, instantly, without waiting a day to see what the papers were, what the documents were. Fox News, the mainstream of it all in the Republican Party, their lower thirds, their chyrons at the bottom of the screen. Let me read you 4 of them. That day, the next day, weaponized DOJ, FBI now exists to eliminate Democratic Party rivals. Next one, from the IRS to the FBI, they are coming for you. Next one, everything about this raid was corrupt. They knew nothing about it. They don't know what happened about the raid. They don't know the process. They don't know who signed off on it, if it was legit or not. Everything was corrupt. And finally, the left's war on the right is just beginning. I mean, it would be funny if it weren't so criminal, because all of those, you can draw a direct line to people taking up arms and shooting up FBI buildings and that calling for a civil war. This is their news. It still says news under Fox News. And they believe it is fact. There's a war against them.
Yeah.
You know, Cenk, just real quick, I'll say this, and because it pertains to something that comes up occasionally here, and I know I've mentioned this on TYT before, but you know, when you feel as they do, and because this can be felt on the left as well, but this is very much felt on the right, that my country is ebbing away. It's being taken over by progressives. It's being taken over by policies that go against the soul of America. Okay, and they believe that fervently. However they get to the next place, they believe that fervently. When that is your fervent belief, then whatever you need to do, whatever chyrons you need to put up, whatever rallying cries you need to put out there, and whatever BS you need to carry the flag for, in the case of the Trump lies, you're going to do it. And I think that's exactly what's happening in America right now.
But do you think that's the fervent belief of the people that are running Fox News? No way. I think that's they know they're manipulating the people.
Oh, of course, it's a commercial enterprise, 100%.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
Like the FBI needs to go talk to Rupert Murdoch right now. He needs to be held to account for crimes in this country. He is sowing civil war.
Yeah, and for so long, the rest of cable news aided and abetted Fox News by pretending that they were real news. And I've said this many times on the show. The reason is because a lot of their friends worked at Fox News, and a lot of them and a lot of their friends worked there at the time. You know, when we were criticizing Fox News, and CNN and MSNBC was defending them. And then a lot of them thought maybe one day I'll work at Fox News, and so they put up the fiction that Fox was doing news when anyone could see with the naked eye that they were doing insane propaganda. So this was the natural conclusion of that propaganda. So the thing I can't stomach at all is when other people on cable news pretended they're shocked and chagrined, and they found out there's gambling in this establishment, and that Fox News, turns out, is doing conservative propaganda. And then even now they barely acknowledge it. Look, when I was at MSNBC back in 2011, and I did an interview when I got the 6 o'clock job with Alternate, I think, and I attacked Fox News in that interview. NBC PR office called me in and upbraided me, said, "Do not attack Fox News. That is very dangerous and risky. They will, among the things that they'll do is they'll counterattack us." And to which I replied, "Ooh, okay, yeah, you're supposed to be in competition with them." And they said, "Oh, they're very nasty, and they have people followed." I'm like, you know, you're a news organization. Maybe you should report that your rivals are goddamn lunatics that are hiring people to follow your anchors around. You guys want to report that? No, nothing, right? And basically, they just gave me a long speech about how they're cowards and that I shouldn't criticize Fox News again. So that Frankenstein is now fully here. I mean, those 4 things that Ben just read you are outrageous lies. And to be put under the umbrella of news, it's insanity, right? Look at that.
Yeah, right. It's a guy standing there or a guy sitting there with a tie, and there's a box graphic, right? And there's a chyron, a super, a lower third, right? And so it looks like real news, but
yeah. And also that didn't show very clearly. That was very blurry, and I'm sorry about that. But it's real is the point. And you're so right, not just that they play along because their buddies work at Fox News or they're all part of the same game, but it's still such corporate interests that run the national mainstream news media. And that's why what we try to do here at the Young Turks is so important, to be independent of all that, because they run with the narratives from that as though it's a legitimate organization, not because they think they're legitimate, but because it still drives their own ratings, because they have a country now that they can pretend to split 50-50 and not pretend that one has been discredited wholly. I talk about this in great detail in my special, The Mad King, currently on YouTube, but I talk about it specifically about with just the issue taking, I break down this very long segment in the special, the criticism of Kaepernick taking a knee during the anthem, people protesting, taking a knee during the anthem. And the issue immediately on Fox became, should he be allowed to protest? And so immediately we're moved from the issue of discussing ever actual police brutality, which is the reason he's taking the knee, and just equal rights as a human being. Never discussed that. Then LeBron James comes to his defense, says of course he should be able to do it. So then Fox News runs with, should LeBron James be allowed to speak out publicly about Kaepernick taking a knee? And now we're 2 steps removed from the issue, and it goes straight to mainstream news. NBC Nightly News was interviewing some lady at a barbecue, and they say, do you think LeBron James should be able to speak publicly about this? And she says, no, I do not. Publicly on the news, she says, hero to millions, LeBron James should shut up and dribble. Barbecue stain lady, what's your thoughts? And that becomes the content on the national news.
And this, of course, from the party that believes in freedom of speech. That's their number one go-to slogan, freedom of speech. And they're like, and that is why LeBron James should not be able to say anything about Colin Kaepernick saying something about police brutality. This police brutality is no big deal. We'll always support law enforcement unless they're the FBI, in which case we defund them, attack them, and shoot nail guns at them. Wait, what? And yet, to Ben's point, mainstream media can't tell who's right or who's wrong.
They can't tell. I mean, literally, we still debate it. When there was protests just during the Olympics recently, people during the anthem, can you protest? And I'll give away the big punchline, but to make it even an issue that is discussed is such a crime, because to even ask whether or not somebody should be allowed to not stand during the anthem because people are pissed off while they're watching Sunday football at home, sitting during the anthem. They're angry at LeBron not standing while they're on the couch being like, get up, stop protesting for your rights. Oh, I got guacamole on my man boobs again, Janet. Get me a towel. I will not get up. You bring me the towel. Get up at the same time.
You know, it's funny because the Brittany Griner thing I was talking about on the radio, and I was mentioning that, well, essentially I was hearing, well, she doesn't stand for the anthem, and she doesn't, or some related to the anthem. Like I know one person said she doesn't stand for the anthem, and I don't think she deserves to get the full force of the United States to try to bring her home, et cetera. And I said, I hate this thing where, do you stand for the anthem? Do you not stand for the anthem? Do you stand fast enough? Do you know the words? I mean, do you have your hand on your heart? Whatever. If Americans are being held somewhere, anywhere, people of the left, people of the right, if they're Americans, I want to bring them home. Okay, I'm not here to do a litmus test as to their patriotism, assuming they're private citizens somewhere. But this whole craziness has been, I think it's been captured the right. The right has really made it a rallying cry, because you can make patriotism your rallying cry any way you want. And so that's what, to your point, Ben, that's what they do. They push off of the actual issue to the question of patriotism. You know, who's the most patriotic? Who's the best Christian? You know, those are arguments that are absurd on their face. So I think these are the straw men of the right.
As Trump humps the flag as he walks out for his rallies.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the upside of that is the subtlety. So anyway,
there's nothing subtle. Trump comes in heavy, man. It's big lies. It's big humping of the flag. He wraps himself in the military. He wanted that big parade his first year. That was insanity. I mean, remember the parade he set up in Washington?
But did not want injured veterans in the parade.
Yes,
that was one thing he wanted to change from France's Bastille Day parade, was loved the parade. Anyway, we could take the people who fought the war the parade is for out, though. I'd love to have hot models with helmets pretending they are injured soldiers. Is that okay?
Love the parade, lose the wheelchairs? Is that what he said?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, I'm gonna go to 2 classics here. My favorite.
They're even telling people to stand up during the parade. There's an injured veteran in a wheelchair. He's like, stand up, the flag is here.
2 classics here real quick. My favorite Trump screw up was he was honoring the Paralympics, the American athletes in the Paralympics. And he's like, they're great, they're amazing, they've done amazing things. It's wonderful to watch. Can't watch too long, but
Yes. Oh my God. I
you're like,
remember that one.
no, he didn't just
I've
say
forgotten
that while they're on stage together. Jesus. Okay, so that's Trump for you.
I forgot that. That's great. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Geez, so
I don't know how. What's the answer? How do we close Pandora's box again? Like the only thing I can come up with is, other than like a supercut of all of these things that Trump has done, somehow like taking over Fox's airwaves and playing it as reverse propaganda at them. All I can come up with is we need some sort of truth commission. We need, beyond truth in advertising, truth in broadcasting, we need to enforce the laws that are already on the books. We already let expire the fact that you can call yourself news when you're not, that you don't have to prove stories. That used to be on the books and it hasn't been enforced in a very long time. But we need some sort of like nonpartisan truth commission that goes after, without it being obviously draconian censorship, but you need to be able to say people that are inciting lies that lead to the unraveling of the country, it can't be allowed. I mean, that's got to be the very basic. It's the only thing I can come up with that's any chance to maybe that, and of course getting all the horrible moneyed interests out of politics, any chance to maybe save the republic. Otherwise, it's going to continue to slide. What's the solution?
So Ben, don't worry. As usual, I got this. So no, the commission's not going to work. They're going to get bogged down on what's true and what's not true, and what's 3 Pinocchios versus 4 Pinocchios, and etc. We already have Snopes. We already have the fact checkers. Snopes pretty good. Fact checkers are very imperfect. They check facts from a corporate point of view, but overall, you know what's right and what's wrong. And I, to our earlier point, I think the right wing kind of knows what's right and wrong too. That's not the issue. So but how do we win them back, Ben? Is how do we to right the ship? Is you need a populist left winger that outdoes Trump. You need to go over the top on him. And
the guy who was that was Bernie Sanders. Absolutely, the guy who was that was Bernie. There's nothing. I'm sorry to interrupt, Cenk, but I'll shut up in a second. But there was nothing. I was just saying this to someone today. Nothing Bernie Sanders, nothing Trump could say on stage, or that could be asked in a question of Bernie Sanders. Something, Donald Trump says that you're a socialist or whatever it might be. There's nothing that Bernie Sanders couldn't throw back. I mean, with greater heat and greater power than Trump would be able to. He's a populist. He's sincerely a legit populist. I understand his time in the expiration date may have passed, Cenk, but that was the guy that the left had.
The only problem I always criticized Bernie for was that he speaks so passionately and makes such great cases, and then he always throws it at the end, in my view. In my view. Trump states things as facts that aren't even facts. He literally says the election's stolen, I'm the king, everything's wonderful, I'm the guy in charge, nuclear secrets here, let's give them out like they're lottery tickets. And then Bernie Sanders is like, you're a corrupt person, the evidence has all mounted, and you must be punished and pay the price, finally, in my view. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. Always hedging at the end.
I've never noticed that.
Oh, always.
Yeah. So I think that you need to go way more populist than Bernie, honestly, right? And someone who did, like Fetterman's doing a great job of trolling back and doing memes, and I would take that and multiply it by about 4 at least. And so like Trump grabs the flag, you grab the flag, okay? When Trump hugs the flag, the next day our candidate should come out in a flag jacket and have a flag draped over him, and then go hug the flag that's on the stage and go, what are you gonna do now? You know what I just did? I just proved I'm more American than you.
Totally. That's why I've got a flag in the background for all my Rebel HQ videos. We need to reclaim the flag. We need to reclaim patriotism. We cannot keep losing the messaging war, the patriotism war. We are seeding the future. It is a battle literally for whether we're going to have the country that we want, and we're still playing by polite tactics. I mean, the way that I see it, I've started to come to see it lately, is I feel like there's all this talk of civil war. I think we are in the civil war. They've declared it on us, and we're not fighting back. I mean, literally not even a Cold War. There are deaths constantly happening caused by this right-wing ignorance. I mean, just take the anti-science, anti-masking, anti-vaccines that took something that could have been more manageable, would have been a tragic but but much smaller number of deaths, and takes it over 1 million American deaths. Then they stymie all gun control, all reasonable, strong gun control, stymie an assault weapons ban, so that we literally are in fear of being taken out by snipers from building tops and in markets and in schools. That literally is what happens in war. Snipers randomly take you out. So they're tallying a body total against us, and we're sitting there being like, oh, I hope we don't get into a civil war. They've already declared it. They're putting on their chyrons on the news. Their war has begun. They're coming for you. In those exact words.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing that it's those exact words. But so look, there's 2 stages. One is you got to outpopulate them, and as you're doing that, you have to take away their power. We keep leaning into their power. We keep saying they're too strong, they're too racist, they're too this, they're too that. No, take away their power. They're weak, they're clowns, they're buffoons. Make fun of them, humiliate them over and over again. Donald Trump, I'd go at him. The first thing that I always say, and people get confused by it, especially because the people we know are highly educated and they think you should do things the classy way and you should have a platonic debate with Donald Trump and should make a great point about House Resolution 127 CB, right? No, the very first thing I would do is, hey, why are you hiding your grades, dummy? You're hiding your grades all the way back to elementary school. Jesus, how stupid were you back then? And it never improved. You're still hiding them from high school and you're hiding them from college. Why are you hiding the grades, dumb?
Yep.
Dumb.
Shame,
okay?
Shame them.
And you know what's gonna happen? Trump's gonna say, I'm not hiding the grades, I am, but you're a criminal, you're supposed to hide the grades. Smart people hide the grades. All right, he's already playing defense. And now we've just changed the conversation. You know how Ben was talking about, they changed the conversation from, hey, police abuse to should Colin Kaepernick be allowed to take the knee, right? We changed the conversation to, is Donald Trump the dumbest man in America or just the dumbest man who's ever been in office? Okay, and what that does is it takes away his strength. All of a sudden, and now people start to see him differently. So when he starts to talk about how it's tough to go down the stairs, you remember that? When he was like, oh, the stairs, you have to be really careful. The Marine generals were telling me about it. The stairs, right? And then all of a sudden, he looks like an idiot, but he looks weak too. Like going down those steps super carefully, etc. You just undercut. You have to be vicious to him, but not vicious saying he's racist, he's sexist, he's bigot. That's the feature that his guys like that makes him look strong. No, you just eviscerate him. But the second part is even more important. Once you win, you have to actually deliver for people. And if you deliver for people, that actually lasts generations. I mean, I'll give you one quick example. Guy I'm talking to from Jersey, a family friend, he's on the older side. And he, full Fox News viewer, loves Trump, hates the Democrats, but loves JFK and FDR. And I'm like, wait a minute, FDR is 10 times the socialist Bernie Sanders is. Why do you like FDR? Oh, he gave us Social Security. My parents died young. Social Security took care of us. FDR is the best. Okay, so I mean, one, obviously he doesn't know anything about politics. I get it, right? He doesn't get where the political spectrum is. He doesn't know where FDR would be today. But there's one thing he knows. He's a regular dude and he knows FDR took care of his family, okay? Populist wins, they raise wages, they get people universal health care. Forget everything else. They gotta do all those others, pay family leave, child tax credit, all that stuff, okay? But if all you did was give everybody universal health care and raise their wages, they love you forever, right? And plus, Anna makes this point, so they're happier. And it's hard to
wait a minute. So all they have to do is get universal health care and raise wages. Oh, they can do that in a couple hours just by working through lunch. Am I right, Jack? I mean, I love that rap and I love what you've just said and that strategy. And I don't mean to diminish it at all, because I think what you've said is actually right on. I love the smack talk. I like the in your face. And I even like, you're right, policies that truly affect and benefit Americans. But let's be honest, it was a photo finish to get even this incremental, and I don't mean to just diminish it and just say it was incremental, but when it comes to negotiating drug prices and Medicare negotiations and all the rest, it isn't even as broad as we'd like to see it. When it comes to climate, it's not even as broad or as much of investment as we'd like to see it. There are inducements to fossil fuel companies, and there are even in this new legislation that's passing. There are even lower barriers to drilling on public land. So, and that's old school, dirty fossil fuel. So all I'm trying to say is if you want to do the big lift, which I agree with you would be terrific, to have this country actually come alongside so many European nations and actually have a Medicare for all, I think are looking at a lift that is right now not feasible. Sure, if you could deliver it, wow.
But that's just because we don't have a progressive Congress. If we were to even get just 5 more senators, 10 ideally, but 5 more, then we get a lot more passed. And we keep inching. We have to stop acting like the line is just
5 more senators is not a progressive Congress still, Ben.
Yes,
guys, don't worry. I told you, I got this.
Okay.
So we don't need 5 or 10. We just need one bull in a china shop. So that's what Trump was for the Republicans. He got the entire party to heel. Just one man, okay? But he did it for his own personal corruption. Now imagine a left-wing populist that does it, but does it for the people. And so it's not that hard to imagine at all. So if I have anything to do with it, yeah, you guys accurately assess what the problem is. Corporate Democrats and corporate media. So corporate Democrats are never gonna let you pass Medicare for all because they get paid millions of dollars by the health insurance companies and the drug companies. They're corrupt. They're liars, they're hypocrites, they're criminals, they take bribes for a living, okay? So you know what I would do? I would tell people that. And you know what they would do? They would crap in their pants. And they would send their corporate media goons to say Cenk is anti-Muslim, anti-Semite, anti-Black, anti-Native American, anti-this, anti-that, right? They throw identity politics at me. Cenk's too brown, Cenk's not brown enough. They do the whole thing. And then we're still at hashtag suck it, okay? So I don't care. I don't care about any of your smears, and neither does anybody else. Everybody's on to you, and you attack corporate media. You go, hey, listen, every country that has universal health care pays less than us. In fact, on average, they pay half of what we do. So why do you keep saying, how are you gonna pay for that? Do you have some sort of mental capacity issues? I mean, like, I'm serious. Like, it's like you're saying, hey, you know what? Give me $10, and then I'm gonna give you back $20. And then you say, how do you pay for that? Well, the $20 I'm giving back to you. That's how you pay for it. Like, do you have trouble understanding words? Do you have trouble understanding math? Jake Tapper would be outraged. He would be so mad. And he would say, how dare you say that we should have the same system as every other developed nation? How dare you say that what, is it true, Jake? Do they pay half of what we pay? Just do one goddamn fact check in your life. Do they pay half of what we pay on average? They do. So why are you telling everybody it's impossible? Jake Tapper, why are you so unbelievably corrupt? Heads would explode, and then you know what would happen? Everybody would be talking about, Jesus, wait, why doesn't corporate media ever tell us that every other nation has it? And they all pay half of what we pay. Why didn't they ever tell us that? Oh, it turns out they're liars, but they're liars that are actually conservatives, not liberals. Okay, it just takes one guy to fight back. One guy. But 40 effing years, and we haven't found one person with the balls to take on corporate media and corporate Democrats.
But the other problem with it is that it's a 2-step process. Like you said, it's not just about going low and smacking them down. It's like a re-education process because liberals tend to want the more intellectual discourse and want to mention Bill 1047B. And so we need to say, listen, we're losing the war. We need to get on board with the guy who's trash talking them, that's trying to lead us out of this darkness, and then kind of get them to accept, all right, we have to start putting on the gloves and fighting a little harder.
They're never gonna do it. They'd rather have Trump than us. So Jake Tapper thinks he hates Donald Trump, that's my guess. But if you told him Bernie or Trump, I think he votes Trump. And I think most of the cable news guys vote Trump. They hate Bernie more than they hate anyone because to them, Bernie is a personal affront. It's easy to dismiss Trump. The guy's a walking buffoon, right? But Bernie proves them wrong. And so anyone in the progressive camp, they hate us 10 times more than they hate anyone in the right wing. In the right with the right wing, they agree on economic issues 100%. 100%. You ask every progressive position, and Jake Mother Effer Tapper will tell you, how are you gonna pay for that? Oh, higher wages, it's gonna cause inflation. That goes to real people. I hate it. How are you gonna pay for it? College for all. Oh, now everybody gets an education, not just the rich. I hate it. I hate it. Let's bring Trump back, okay?
Then how does that populist win? How does that populist take over then?
Huh?
How does that populist take over then if they hate us and they don't want that person to speak in grand terms?
That's why TYT exists. And it's not hyperbole, it's not any of that. Because without, mainstream media says what is credible, and they shut out all progressives. They don't even have that debate with us. With Trump and the right wing, they will debate anything. So he took it home as a memento. Let's debate it, right? But with the left wing, you're like, oh, I have like an encyclopedia full of facts, and they're indisputable. They're like, just ban them, stop it, don't allow them on TV, right? So yes, that's an unsolvable riddle, Ben. That's actually what's taken 40 years to get past that castle, okay? So the way that you solve that riddle is you don't beg and beseech corporate media, you attack corporate media.
Rational.
And you do independent media, and eventually you get larger than them, and then I refer you back to #suckmy. Okay. So anyways, we gotta go. We got a whole new episode for members, so stay right here if you're a member. Valerie Merkling, don't think that I didn't see that you upgraded your membership to TYT Premium. We love you for that, Valerie. And Agnostic Sister asks, okay, I've had a few drinks and wondering if Ben is a single man. We answer that question for the members in the next episode. Okay, so have some twostrongcoffee.com/TYT, and we'll be back in 1 minute.